I'm getting off for the clock at 6, and that's it. That's all I got. That's all I got. And I'm gonna go home and go jogging. I'm gonna see my baby, see what she doing. Um, so if you look at the title, I put "No More Married." That's because I had time to pull up. I should be sitting here trying to type stuff. No more marriages. So I want to discuss, like, why is it that a lot of folks nowadays are being turned away from marriages and they're not even interested in marriages. And do not get it twisted. To be like, why are y'all so fixated in being married? Like, I mean, what's up with that? Because nobody wants to go to hell for fornication, okay? And if you believe in the creator, the maker, then you should understand that there's a heaven or a hell. So if you're going to be out here having sex, you need to make it official, so you can have sex with a license by God, because you're one flesh. So, but what I wanted to discuss is, like, why it seems like there's like this huge turning of man versus woman, woman versus man. I'm good in my singleness. I'm okay. I'm good. Peace. Now I can't say I get it. I understand it for those of us who have no choice. Like, the put away wife, the put away husband. We are to remain unmarried or reconcile. But for everyone else, it's just like I throw in the towel. I want to discuss is in what's the reason behind it. Because when society starts to sell, not start, society lately and for the last hundreds of years have been pushing separation between man, male and female, man and husband and wife, man and woman. They have been pushing this whole agenda against the family, to the point the devil just you don't even recognize it now. And now people want to call it the modern day family. And a lot of people are so hurt and so crushed because you were in 3-year, 4-year, 5-year, you were in very long-term relationships, and it resulted in heartbreak. It resulted in you being hurt. It resulted into years being lost. It resulted into being put away. And some of you witnessed your mother, your father, some things that you was like, I'm going it. I'm not going through these things. You witnessed this stuff. So now it's like you don't see a lot of folks get married. And unfortunately, it's true. When people do get married, you got folks plotting in the back, like, I give them 2 years. I think they'll last for about a good year and a half. I give them 3 years. Remember what I said in my last videos is that the devil, his whole thing is to destroy. His whole thing is to destroy your union. And what he tries to do with that is he tries to separate you and causing one of you to fall, just like Adam and Eve fell. And then Eve fell first, then Adam, and they both fell. And that's what the devil is doing today, especially with husband and wife. He goes after the wife, goes after the husband, entice him to somebody else. And next thing you know, for whatever reason it may be, somebody starts putting up, going to the divorce court for their little divorce, their bill of divorces, you know. And a lot of people look at that and be like, man, I saw my man. He had it going on. Him and his wife had a house and all this other stuff. Next thing you know, his wife filed for a divorce, took him to this, made him pay this, made him pay that. And my man hurt, so I ain't never going through that. And it's not even, it's literally, it doesn't matter what color you are, what background you are, or from what country. I mean, this thing is worldwide because the enemy knows that if you commit adultery, you're on hell's list. So remember what I said before in the videos, is that literally we wrestle not against flesh or blood. So now you see this huge outpour when folks are just like, I'm good, I'm good. Well, if you good, you know what I'm good comes with. It comes with celibacy as well. You do know that, right? And we're not the only, especially in the United States, because in China you got women, and I told you, you got chicks over there where they're marrying, they're putting on these wedding dresses and paying for the wedding, but with no groom, just so they can have the experience, because they are finding that a lot of them married is because of their huge distraction is video games. And then some people are feeling pressured by the government. Some people are feeling pressured by their government. So you got China that's just like, you know what, I ain't getting married, and I'm not having no kids. Now what? you know? So I'm also seeing that we are living in the last days where men should be lovers of themselves. Some just be like, I'm too beautiful to get married. I am too handsome to be somebody's husband. You know, it's like we are living in the times where it's just like we're daggone it. But the biggest thing that I'm seeing is that it's a discouraging thing when you can rarely find real marriages out here. It's a discouraging thing. I remember years ago when I was talking to my mother, me and my cousin, and we were just talking, and this is before I had met, this is before I even got married, and we were talking about how men these days, they're not even interested in marriage. It's like they dodge this thing like it's a bullet, but have no idea that God intended you to have a wife of your own, because he knew that you were going to need your wife. He knew what you needed before you were even formed. And some of you refuse to take this bride who is given to you. You choose the other road, and then you find yourself lonely, old, hunchback over, and you wish you would have not stalled and been so selfish, because you were chasing well, you were chasing the wind. You were chasing the wind. You were chasing the car. Y'all got 3 kids. Sorry, y'all got disconnected. Y'all got 3 kids, but y'all not married. And society has been pushing it, because if you remember, not remember, well, I can't even say remember back in the day like that, but back in the day, songs about being in love, songs about married, being married, having a household. Like, it was normal to see a husband and a wife and their family together. It was a normal thing to see these things because they pushed it. And here goes the devil. When he realized you can control the masses from the music, from the entertainment, then they started to push their own narrative, which was, divorce, adultery, remarriage. I even started seeing these things in black and white movies. When he started cheating on his wife, wanting somebody else, lusting over someone else. This is when the adultery started coming on the rise, especially because you started projecting it and pushing it and putting it in the news, putting it in the music, putting it in your movies. And this is what people saw all the time. So they just like, whatever. Do you remember when you were brought up in the 90s, you had rated R movies. Certain movies you weren't allowed to see, and certain movies didn't come on until a certain particular time. Now, shoot, you can download that stuff and you can see it, live it, and be a part of it. This is the society that we have come to, where they are putting adultery on the pedestal, putting abomination on the pedestal, and the real marriage, they're attacking it. They are attacking it. So why aren't we seeing marriages anymore? Because a lot of people are. One thing I can say is that A lot of people are witnessing what other people have done with their husbands and their wives, and they don't want to go through that. Then there's the I don't want to commit, because you're dealing with men should be lovers of themselves generation. And then there is the you know it's permanent, so you don't want to sign up for somebody with somebody, and to come to find out you're going to be left. So the solution of it all is like we got to go back to the teachings of Christ. We have to go back to the teachings. Taught the husband how to love his wife, and how to wife, and for the wife how to love her husband. We have to go back to that. That's the only thing. And it's like you have to take all the weeds out of your garden. Come on now, you got to move over, boo. You got to take all the weeds out of your garden, and you have to start planting good seed and raising your family accordingly. Because this is the reason why we have so much disconnect. This is the reason why you have sons learning from their fathers of what their fathers have done, and you see what the mothers have gone through. I had to teach my daughter the other day. She was playing around, and she mentioned something when she was playing about the two mommies in her, I don't know what game she was playing, but I said, no, there's a mommy and there's a daddy. And she looked like, yeah, and I'm like, you have a daddy. I'm like trying to explain this to her, but we're in a society right now where children are only on one side when they're supposed to see both sides. It's like the new norm for the mother, for the single parenting or the co-parenting, when you're really not in the same household, but you go over this house and that house. It is such a distraction. It is. And we wonder why we're not invited to a lot of weddings, because we don't know a lot of people who are getting married. Like, it used to be the thing that such and such is getting married, such and such is getting married, such and such is getting married. So you use weddings every daggone where. Everybody's dressed up looking like royalty because everybody's getting married. It's just like a community of married folks and families. And they're thriving. But because we're living in this generation of adulterous mess, you're seeing heartbreak. You're seeing people walk away. You're seeing no repentance, no forgiveness, no reconciliation. You're seeing no restoration. I mean, some of it you are. A lot of people have stories, but I hate to say it, I haven't seen any in my immediate circle. I'm not going to lie, I have not seen it in my immediate circle, because some people choose that they want to go about their life, and that's the way they want to do things. It's sad. It's really sad. It's really sad. I'm really hoping that my brother gets married. I am. Why, Ramona? Because I get a new sister-in-law. I get a new sister. You know what I mean? There's somebody new to the family. At least we'll have great cookouts, more people, more fun. And I really hope that this generation and the generation that comes behind us will wake up and realize how many mistakes we have made with not teaching our community as Christians, as the body of Christ, or how we ought to be in marriage. People can walk on and talk a whole bunch of whatevers, but the truth of the matter is that most people, they don't want to be signed up to go on a hell roller coaster ride. That's why, and then like I said, you got people who are really like, I ain't marrying nobody. They've been hurt. They've been there as the single parent, raising while this other person left and jumped shift. They've witnessed that and said, I'm never going through it. They were the ones who actually performed it and was like, this is a mess. You know? People are not believing in, they're not looking to God in when it comes to direction, and they need to. That's why the majority, and I'm not saying all, because there are still real marriages out here, but I hate to say it, I don't know anybody personally that's still under the same roof and they're married. I don't know anyone in my immediate circle or family. I guess I got aunts in New York or whatever, but I don't know what's going on with their stuff. But in my whole immediate thing, and that's not really good. But I have family, I have friends that have the same situations. They may know one couple that's truly a true marriage. You see what I'm saying? They may know one couple that is real. You may know some couples who are really truly in a real marriage. But you may know so many folks that are single and aren't really a couple, that they're committing adultery or they're shacking up. You know what I mean? You know what I mean by couple, real married folks, genuine married folks. I don't know about y'all, but I'm finding that, that's why, somebody mentioned something about the church, like you have majority of the churches where you see more of women and children, single with children. You're seeing this because somewhere along the line somebody failed to teach that you are to remain a virgin until you get married. That is so much so that the church is not even teaching that. Like when I go to church, I don't hear the preacher preaching about that you were to save yourself before marriages. You start them off when they're teenagers and things like that, and they're young. Like, yes, you're not supposed to do any of these things until you are a bride, until you are on your married day. That's the day that you're supposed to be doing things. But because you're not teaching that, you're teaching the worldly thing. You're teaching, oh, if you have any urges, to go get you a condom. You're not even teaching these folks that you do know that if something happened, you can go to hell, right? You do know that, right? You're not even teaching them these things. And this is the reason why we don't see marriages of today. Because too many people are too embarrassed to say it. And that's why you rarely even find a virgin, and you rarely find it in a young lady, and you rarely find it in a young man. Rarely. You rarely do. So this is the reason why we don't see marriages these days. You think the devil really wants you to show up and witness a real marriage? Please. He would much rather you come to a fake adultery marriage so he could be like, see, here come Jack and Jill. They're in a real covenant marriage. But noticing how they're witnessing David and Crystal over here, both in their second marriages. It's a good thing they're coming, because then I'm going to tempt them too, that, hey, you can have all of this as well, which is going straight to hell. These are the reasons why people they're not committed, because they see you're not teaching people. You're teaching people that love does not exist, that you're not going to endure, like you're not going to make it through. You're teaching people that you're going to fall, you're going to fail. That's why you see mothers that have more children out of wedlock. They have babies out of, because let me tell you something. I don't care what anybody's saying. Even if you did have kids out of wedlock, those who have children through a marriage is a righteous seed, and the Bible talks about that. The Bible talks about this. So thank you very much. Because my brother, he's like 38 years old. I'm like, look, it's time for you to settle down. It's time for you to settle down. He's like, yo, sis, I'm like, it's time. I got a younger brother too. He's 25. You know, And I'm like, both of them can be out this joint just having kids, man, or out here not even thinking like. And I had that talk with my brother, and I was like, dad was lonely before he went on to be with the Lord. You know, and I know he regret a lot of things. Yeah, I don't ever want to turn back and be regretting that. And a lot of y'all gonna regret it because you thought you had all the time in the world to get your house in order. You thought you had all the time in the world to find Miss Perfection, and the whole time it was the one you've been dating for the last 10 years. But you were so selfish and self-centered and just lover of your own self. That the one that God had sent, you asked for a good woman, you asked for a wife, and she was sitting there, and you defiled her with a bunch of children, and you saw what your mother went through, so you refused to even think or even consider remarriage, or not remarriage but marriage. And you, because of what somebody did to you, you decided that you didn't want to be a woman anymore. You just gonna transition to something else. Come on, y'all. This is the real reason why we're not seeing marriages. It's because, number one, it's not being taught in the homes how sacred it is. And this is the reason why you are alive. This is the reason why God created us. He wants marriages. And for anyone who tells you marriage is for the birds, you don't need none of that. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're seeking the kingdom of God. Unless you seeking the kingdom of God, and that's all you seeking, you not sleeping, you just all about God, then I get it. But y'all not eunuchs out here. Y'all still out here dating, dropping it to the floor, sleeping, giving the milk away, and you wondering why the person don't want the cow. Some of y'all are so hurt that you just like, I'm not even gonna utter marriage. Some of y'all been stuck, and you realize, and you not even realize, you think you've lost your window for marriage. You think you're just too old, and some of you just realize, man, people so selfish out here. I don't even have time to let anybody into my world, because you let somebody into your world and they tore it upside down, and it's been some years since they've been gone, and you didn't rearrange things, so you got trust issues now. All of this goes to forgiveness. And all of it goes back to hardening of hearts. It goes back to not unrepentive, not saying I'm sorry for the things that you've done, because some of you find that, yeah, you were the one that hurt this person. You were the one that caused this person to stray away from God and to even believe that love exists, because you drained this person. You better repent. You better make right. I remember somebody gave a testimony about some men who were judged, and they were handsome, and they were in hell. They were judged for the women that they defiled and they didn't marry. God is going to judge you for that. And a lot of people are like, take God out of it. Okay. You just remember, you 30-some odd years talking about take God out of it. Keep on living. And when you croak and die and the good Lord calls you home, you going to see that everything I was saying is absolutely true. You will be judged for the things that you do and how you impacted other people, and you made them. You've taken something that God wanted to be sacred, and you twisted it to your own nastiness. You twisted it to your own nastiness. I remember this one guy. It was on YouTube, and he gave a dream about. In his dream, it was a beautiful bride, and he defiled her in such a way, it was like the nastiness of him was pouring onto her, and it was so nasty, and it was a reflection of, this is how you are. And you got to ask yourself, like, are you guilty of that? But this is why we don't see a lot of marriages today. Now they'll be like, oh, the United States have the lowest, first it was we had the highest divorce rates Somebody said, I am one of, I was listening to a lady that said, excuse me, sir, but I am one of the 50% percentile of the women who is now divorced. And I'm like, that's not a cool thing to be a part of the crew. I know I didn't want to be a part of the divorce crew. I did not want to be a part of the divorce crew. Me and my husband just knew when we got married, we was never going to be a part of the divorce crew. It's always when you both go in together and you think, we're not ever going to fall down. And here comes Satan. Here comes Satan himself, tempting. And you be like, I'm holding face until you look at your partner and you like, you holding, right? You holding, and you see his knees buckling, and you like, yo, don't do this. We're supposed to be fighting. And then they buckle. The next thing you know, you are a part of the divorce crew as well. You are part of the put away crew. Mm-hmm. And then you see it, not only that it happened in your own household, but you see the generations of who it happened to. And then you look to your left and you look to your right and say, wait a minute, it's happening to you guys as well. And then you start to root like you start to root for other people and be like, you guys can make it. Y'all can make it, please. Please. It's like we're all rooting for y'all to just make it in your marriages. And then you buckle too. It's a sad thing. It's a sad thing. It is really sad. I remember I had a conversation with one of the ladies, and we were talking about Beverly, the church in the wilderness, and we listened to her testimony because somebody asked if she ever reached out to her husband who put her away. And then sometimes I be thinking like, how? Because some of y'all so stupid. And I know that's the wrong thing to say, but y'all some idiots and fools to put away a good wife, a good woman, a good godly woman. Some of y'all some straight idiots. Oh gosh, man. But you know what? You know what I thought about? How Adam and Eve felt when they disobeyed God, like they lost it all. And of course, Jesus brought it back. God did that. But just the mere fact that you had something and you just lost it. So, anyway, I remember listening to this video of her husband. She reached out to him. And we were like, well, what did he say? Because the rest of everyone else is just that's been waiting for their husbands to come out. What did your husband say? Like we're all like, so what did he say? We're just listening. And she said when she went to reach out to him on Facebook, he just basically was like, don't ever contact me again, and blocked her. And I'ma tell you, my heart just sank. And I was like, there's, that's messed up. And little did he know, not only did that hurt your wife, but that hurt a community of wives that have longed to hear from their husbands again. And it's almost like, I'm not going to say, it's almost like no hope. I told you I had that conversation with my father, and I was like, I saw you never came back for my mother. You never fought for my mother. So to me, when I look at my situation, I don't see my husband ever doing any of those things because I saw what my father did. So it's almost like no hope. And so when people look at other people and they saw how gorgeous this wedding was, how so much in love you were, and then you both ripped each other apart, and your divorce hearing, and you see the bitterness, you see that the twinkle has gone. There's no forgiveness, and people who witness that, to them it's almost no hope. It's almost no hope because they saw what you did to the husband of your youth. They saw what you did to the wife of your youth. But I still think that, people still long to get married. But it's just, It's so many distractions that are coming their way. I mean, there's way more distractions than there used to be years ago. But nothing new is under the sun. Nothing new is under the sun. I feel like we have, not even feel, we have to go back to the organicness of marriage. We have to go back to the teaching of Jesus Christ in the household, applied in the hearts of men and children. And from there, we'll start to see families. We'll start to see family reunions again. We'll start to see families together, not a division. And I hate to say it, but it's true. You see folks that have been in these marriages for 20 years, and all of a sudden they throwing in the towel, and everything, all of those memories. Now the children are visiting dad on this day, and mom on this day, because of the decisions that they have made, you know, because of the decisions they have made. So that's something that I have noticed, that this is the real reason why I'm starting to see that there's not a lot of marriages. There's not a lot of there's not a lot of marriages. I know China, all of a sudden they were like, China is having a low birth. People aren't giving birth. Oh, you think? Right after you were pushing this one child rule, now you want everybody to push out babies for you so you can tax the eyeballs out of them. Really, you think? And now they're starting to say that the statistics in the United States is there's not a lot of marriages that are going. Oh, you think? Could it be because you came against the family? You tried to redefine what a family was. You know, so now you want to say you're for families? So that's why I'm seeing it. Like I said, I know women right now. I know women right now who've longed to be married, but they're not. And now they don't even want to be married. And it's because they gotten so used to not being married. They've gotten so used to doing things on their own. Some people were like, "Oh, she missed independence. She had no choice but to be." And now they've gotten so used to that, and they just don't. They've lost the desire for it. You know. And some people just choose to live their life like that. But I still think it's sad. I still think it's sad. You know. Yeah, but this is the thing. From my understanding with Sister Beverly is that it they had the wrong counsel. From my understanding is that the preacher was basically not whoever they was receiving counsel from never said anything about reconciliation. It was more so like divorce was just their option. So she didn't have good counsel. And remember, I was saying that the enemy, he comes to kill, steal, and destroy. He wants people to get a divorce. And so they didn't have anyone to say, no, you don't need a divorce. Instead, that particular preacher or whoever he was at that time was giving he was not giving good counsel. And she did reach out to her husband because the Lord was telling her not to move from a different state that she was in. And she said one day she will go back, but she did try to reach out to him. And when she tried to reach out, I'm not talking about the second man that she married that was committing adultery. I'm talking about her real husband. When she tried to reach out to him, he rejected her. The thing is, I have encountered so many men, even when I was younger, that was already married. But again, I'm living a life of, you know, I don't encounter men like that. I really don't. I'm living a life of, um, I'm in and out. I'm going to work and I'm home. But you will start to see. I mean, I've seen it even in my early 20s about men who have been married multiple times. Some even my age, divorced. So I mean, either way, when God reveals truth to you, when He reveals Him into you, sometimes I think one party, not one party, one. I think it's also something when I see, uh, it's a beautiful thing when both parties can realize and both parties can come back to God and both parties can reconcile. It's a beautiful thing when you see that. But what I am seeing and what I'm witnessing is that some people just choose not to forgive. They have no feelings and they don't want to forgive. That's what I'm saying. And secretly, I feel like sometimes some people secretly they don't even want you. They don't even want to see you reconcile. They don't want to see you reconcile. Some women who long to be married, they've just given up because they look out here and they realize like a lot of people are selfish of themselves. They've witnessed people do messed up things, and it was somebody special that they loved, and that particular person did something messed up to them too. And I just think I think it's a shame. I think it's sad. So one of my brothers has a really good. I think that she's definitely a really good woman, and she longs to be married, and she really wants to be married. She said to me, she said to my dad's funeral, and I did marry us, and I said, I'll be very honest with you. If that ever came, I would definitely speak at your wedding, but I believe that a preacher, a man of one wife with authority, needs to marry you. You know, but I'll definitely speak and let it be known. Look at here, we've all witnessed this, didn't we? That's what I want to be speakers at people weddings, officiate the witnessing. Look at here. I want everybody up in here to witness, sign off with these witness papers, sign off. We all witness them. So if one of them try to ditch the other to go back into the world and think they're going to, get put in some divorce papers, we have witnessed you become one flesh, and we're going to witness you, we hope we don't witness you committing adultery going to hell. That's what I'm about to start going to some. I'm about to start going to some weddings, y'all, and being the official witnesser. I didn't name my own thing. I can see guess who coming to the wedding. Mine's a whole snap. And the first thing I want to know when I step up in here, this is the real deal, isn't it? Ain't nobody been married before. Did we check the books? I can see them right now. But anyway, you seem single by default at this point. Why so? Oh man. But yeah, you guys. So I just wanted to share that. Those are my thoughts on that. That's the reason why I feel. That's the reason why I feel that there's not a lot of weddings, y'all. That's the reason why I feel it's not a lot. But we're living in the last days, and people gonna start getting their lives together. We're living in the times right now where people are gonna start making it official because they're gonna realize hell is real. So hopefully we'll see more families, unions and stuff. I mean, I can't. I'm gonna have to be truthful. Like I have three nieces. I have three nieces, and they're in their early 20s. All three of them have children, and then none of them are married. I'm not proud of it, but hey, it's better than aborting any baby. But still, you're supposed to be married before thinking about anything. And that's what we got to go back to what society has been teaching with the preachers. I don't see any preachers giving up on there saying you must be virgins before you get married. I don't hear any major preachers out there saying these things. And when you do hear preachers say that, it's the itty bitty, this preacher is off to the side in the cut somewhere. You got to search for the videos because YouTube has suppressed the truth. You know, YouTube has suppressed it. Telling I don't see what's wrong with getting in front of people and letting them be known like you want a good wife, you want a good husband, then don't have sex until you get married. Don't do anything until you get married. Anyway, y'all, let me get on out of here. Let me get on out of here and let me prepare for this afternoon. I'm glad I made it home on time. It's very nice. Anyway, y'all think about that and y'all tell me what y'all think. You let me know why you think that you haven't seen a lot of weddings. Or maybe you've seen a lot of oh, that's the reason why? Because all the men are divorced. You need to, yeah, a lot of men are divorced, but you also need to ask them too. Was that your first wife? Were you her first husband? You gonna find how entangled folks be. No, I was her second husband. Really? Was that her first time getting married and you realize he wasn't really married? It is so messy out here. That's why I told you the marriage folk, the people that are one flesh with their husbands and wives, y'all supposed to stay out of the dating pool so people like you can go and find, or your husband to find you. But everybody want to swim in the pool when they're not even supposed to be up in there. They double dipping. Double dipping, I say. Double dipping. Anyway, y'all have a blessed